Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to Books My Quiet Friends, and today I will be bringing you something a little different. So if you guys don't know, my name's Sidney. I've been doing book blogging for about 4 years. Some of it was good, some of it was very immature and just me rambling, which might be what this turns into. But today I thought I would bring you a book talk or a book review on If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo. So this is the book that I will be reviewing today. This is quite a battered copy that I got at a used bookstore for $3. It is an ARC. I know they're not supposed to sell them, but this is what I have to review for you. I finished it a few days ago, and I really want to share my thoughts about this book and kind of get it out into the universe. If I Was Your Girl centers around Amanda, a transgendered girl who lives in Lambertville, Tennessee. She's focused on trying to make friends, finding people who can accept her for who she really is without giving out her secret. Her secret is that at her old school, her name was Andrew. She's starting over in a new town with new people and figuring out how to share who she is with those around her. So some of my thoughts about this book was that it's a very important read right now. We are going through a time in this world where things are changing for everybody. So in the States right now, things aren't looking so great for people who are LGBTQ++. I think that's what the States call it. In Canada, we call it LGBTQQ star, I do believe. And things are changing there for a lot of people. People are worried about whether their acceptance is going to be continued or if they haven't really been accepted into their communities, where this new leadership is going to take that and what's going to happen to them. So I think this book is very important, and as it's an own voices story, I think that a lot of people can learn from this book. I wanted to mention that around the world, rights are very different for different people. So people might be feeling this way and be ostracized in different ways in different places. I feel very blessed to live in a country where I feel safe, but as many of you can see, I'm a white woman, a middle-class woman, so I have not had the same experience as our main character, Amanda. And while I do feel safe, I wonder if the main character would feel safe in the same town that I'm in right now. I also wanted to mention that this is an own voices story. Meredith Russo is a transgendered woman, and I do believe from what I heard online, don't hold me accountable to this, but the model on the cover is also a transgendered girl. So this book is very representative of the topic, and it shows overall people who have encountered some of these things in their life. I also wanted to mention before I go any further, there is a letter in the first part of this book. I don't know if it's just in the ARC or if it's in every book, but the author wrote a note for transgender people as well as cisgendered people, so people who are not trans. And it writes about how this isn't everyone's story, this is her own representation of things that happened to her or things she'd heard about, and she felt that it was important to share these things through her novel. I thought that the author did a very good job of portraying Amanda in high school, learning about friends and love and who to trust and who not to trust, and family was really a big part of this book, a different kind of family, different kinds of acceptance from different people, and how that all played into her life. I thought this was interesting because it took place in the southern states in a small town where things aren't as accepted. I also live in a small town, and I realized that things aren't always as okay or portrayed as okay in a small town. People have very biased opinions, very unusual opinions about how things are supposed to be. Even though the rest of the world is evolving, sometimes it takes a smaller town a little longer to get to the same point. I know that kids my age are getting to that point, but for parents and my grandparents' generation, things haven't changed a lot for them in a long time. So seeing this book made me think that maybe my parents could read it and learn something, or my grandma, or etc. Like, it's not just for the young youth of the world. It can be for any age group, any gender, any sexuality, really anything. I think it was very interesting. I also wanted to note that I docked 1 star from this book. It got 4 out of 5 stars from me on Goodreads. This docking is not based on the sexuality in the book, but rather on some things that I found missing in the plot. For instance, I didn't really care for the love interest, and parts of the love interest just didn't pan out for me the way I think it might have panned out for other people. I'm also not a huge contemporary reader, so someone could correct me if they had different opinions or whatever down below. But for me, there were parts that I just thought in any contemporary, they weren't just they weren't right for me. They didn't hit the right spot. So even if Amanda had been considered a straight character in a contemporary and these things had happened, I still would have docked 1 star regardless. If I Was Your Girl also did a very good job about talking about self-worth and self-love, feeling like you are worth enough, like you can do enough, can be enough by yourself, and finding your place and finding where you find that part of yourself along your journey in life. I think that it also did a good job on touching on mental illness. While I have a history of mental illness, and as does my family, we have different experiences all across the board. Everyone's unique. We all have different experiences. So this might be our author's experience, but it might not be your personal experience with mental illness. And I think we all need to keep that in mind when we're reading books about mental illness. Although some people may find this book harmful, there might be a few triggers in this book. I would warn you, I would recommend this book to anyone, any age group, I would say 13 plus and onward, to help show acceptance in our communities and help give that support to people who really need our support, who need someone to just say, I accept you for who you are, whatever you want to be, we are here. And now is the time where I will have a small spoilery section. So I wanted to mention that the reason I docked 1 star, as I mentioned earlier, making this book a 4 out of 5 star for me, was based on our love interest, Grant. Well, I did love Grant, and I think he was the guy that we all seem to fall for in contemporaries. He just didn't click with me and our main character. I understood that they were in love and that she was young and having this experience for the first time and having someone be there for her and love her and think she's beautiful. That's awesome. But the fact that he shared so much of his past and then she was unable to share her past with him made me feel uncomfortable in parts of the book. Although he doesn't need to know everything and every detail about her past, I think that she gave him that letter and was pretty easily able to brush it off when he got rid of that letter so quickly. I also think that coming out in the way that Amanda ended up coming out in this small town to all these people, if you can even call it that, was very harmful and very scary. And I think if you are a transgendered person, that this is a scary idea to think about someone else telling your secret. But by the end of the book, I think that the author did a very good job of showing that the love interest didn't always pan out. It doesn't always end up working, and that's okay if you feel like you are worthy of love and you deserve love for who you are. Wow, this got really heated. But I think that the author did a very great job of showing you that you deserve to be loved no matter who you are, what you look like, what you believe in, what your sexuality is. You deserve the best. And settling for less shouldn't happen, no matter who you are. That is my review and spoilery section. So if you are interested in more book reviews like this, I think I'll be doing these anytime I feel strongly or anytime I read a book, as long as I have enough written down to say about it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below, and I hope to see you next week. Bye!